stage, strife in the way of the call. 3 years of the secret call. It is well known then that Mecca was the religious center for the Arabs, and the household and custodians of the Kaaba. Protection and guardianship of the idols and carved stone images that were honored by the Arabs lay in the hands of all the Meccans. Accordingly, we can gauge the difficulty of achieving the target of the reform and the goodness in the place considered of the center of ideality. Working in such an atmosphere no doubt requires unshakable will and determination. That is why the initial call to Islam assumed a limited form, so the Meccans would not be embraced by the unexpected surprise. The early converts. The Prophet ﷺ naturally initiated his sacred mission right from the home and then moved to the people closely associated with him. He called into Islam whosoever he thought would attest to the truth which had come from his Lord. In fact, a host of the people who did not nurse even the least seed of doubt regardless to the Prophet ﷺ immediately responded and readily embraced the true faith. They are known as the Islamic history as the early converts. Khadija alayhi salam, the Prophet's spouse, the mother of believers, was the first to enter the fold of Islam, followed by the freed slave Zayd bin Harith bin Sarih al-Kalib, his cousin Ali bin Talib, who had living with him since his early childhood, and next came his inmate friend Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. They all professed Islam on the very first day of the call. Abu Bakr, from the first day he embraced Islam, proved to be an energetic and most zealous activist. He was wealthy, obliging, mild, and upright. People used to frequent his house and draw close to him for knowledge, friendship, pleasant company, and business. He invited to Islam whom he felt confidence in. Though his personal efforts, a good number of people converted to Islam, such Uthman bin Affan, Al-Umay, Zubair bin Uman al-Asdi, Abdul Rahman bin Auf, Saad bin Abi Waqas al-Zuhri, and Talih bin Abdullah al-Taymi. These 8 men consisted the forerunners and more specifically the front line of the new faith of Arabia. Among the early Muslims were Bilal bin Rabah, the Abyssinian, Abu Ubaidah, Hamr bin al-Jarrah bin Bani Harith bin Fir, the most trustworthy of the Muslim nation, Abu Salamah bin Abdullah Asad al-Araqam bin Abu al-Arqam from the tribe of Maqsam, Ruthum bin Maz'un of the 2 brothers, Qudama and Abdullah, Ubaidah bin al-Harith bin al-Muttalib bin Abd Manaf, Sa'id bin Zayd al-Adway and his wife Fatima, daughters of al-Khattab, the sisters of Umar bin al-Khattab, Khabab bin al-Arat, Abdullah bin Mas'ud al-Hudahli, and many others. These were known as the first of the Muslim predecessors. They belonged to various clans of the Quraysh. The biographer Ibn Hisham counted them to be more than 40, and considering some of them to be among the foremost converts may not be correct. Ibn Ishaq said the people entered the fold of Islam and hosts. Men and women in the new faith could no longer be kept secret. The Prophet ﷺ used to meet and teach the new converts the religion in privacy. Because the call to Islam was still running on the individual and secret basis, revelation accelerated and continued after the first verses of O wrapped in garments. The verses and parts of surah's chapters revealed at the times were short and wonderful, strong pauses, fascinating rhythms in full harmony. The central topic running through them forced on purifying the soul and preventing the Muslims from falling prey to the deceptive glamour of life. The early verses used to give as well a highly accurate account of hell and garden paradise, leading the believers down a new course diametrically opposed to the ill practices widespread amongst their compatriots. As-Salat, the prayer. The order of the Salah was not among the early revelations. Ibn Hajjar said, definitely the Prophet ﷺ used to pray before in the night journey, but it still remains a matter of controversy whether or not the prayer was established as obligatory ritual before imposing the rules of the usual 5 prayers a day. It is related that the obligatory prayer was established twice a day in the morning before sunrise and after sunset. It was reported through a chain of narrators that when the Prophet ﷺ first received the revelation, the angel Jibreel proceeded to teach him how to perform wudu, ablution. When the Prophet ﷺ finished, he took a handful of water and sprinkled it on his loins. A narration with his similar meaning was recorded by Ibn Mashad. Similar was reported by Al-Bara ibn Azid and Ibn Abbas, and the narration of Ibn Abbas said, and that was during the beginning of his obligation. Ibn Hisham mentioned that when there was a time for prayers, the Prophet ﷺ and his companions would go to the mountain valley and to pray secretly. Abu Talib once saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messengers and Ali is praying. He asked them where they were doing, and when they informed him that it was obligatory prayer, he told them to stay constant in their practice. The Qurayshites learned about the call. During the stage of the call, even though it conducted to a private manner and the individual basis, news leaked to the Quraysh that they paid little attention to it, since the Prophet ﷺ was not assaulting their religion nor speaking about their gods. After 3 years of undercover activism, a group of believers emerged, stamped on by a spirit of brotherhood and cooperation, by one definite objective in their mind: propagating and deeply establishing the call to Islam. For full 3 years, Muhammad ﷺ had been content to teach within a rather narrow circle. The time, however, had come to preach the faith of the Lord openly. Then the revelation descended, giving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger ﷺ the duty of publicizing it for the people, to confront them, invalidate their falsehood, and crush down their idolatrous practices.